You do realize that this whole list is going to cement my reputation of not knowing how to count, right? Hi guys, it's Melissa, your plantita abogada from Tasteful Nodes, and I'm coming to you today with a video that I should have recorded and released at the beginning of the year. It is now mid-February and I'm just now getting around to it, but better late than never, right? So today's topic is going to be my wish list plants of 2022. And originally it was going to be 10 plants, right? But we kind of we had the opportunity to acquire one of my wish list plants and we jumped at the chance. So the 10 became 9. The 10th one will have its own unboxing video here on Tasteful Nodes. So if you haven't yet, subscribe so that you get notification when that video does come out. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, check out Instagram because I'll be a proud plant mama posting pictures of that thing when it gets here. And check me out on Tasteful Nodes on Facebook as well because I'll be posting more details. I mean, it's not every day that I get to mark a plant off my wish list, right? With that being said, let's go ahead and discuss Plantita Abogada's disclaimers, okay? We've got 3 of them. You guys, my regular followers, should know it by heart. And all 3 of them apply today, actually. So the first one is that I'm not paying any plant child support if you get enticed by what you see today and decide to buy on your own. 2, I'm not to be used as an academic resource. I'm going to be spouting off some facts today, and I'll be sure to put down references to where I got that information at the bottom of your screen. So if you want to check that out, that'll be there for you, okay? And then number 3, get a second opinion. While we're not doing any repotting or any pest care, it is kind of important to find out how much these plants are in your area. I mean, gosh, they might be more affordable than here, so you'd be able to knock off a wish list plant that I have, that I shared with you, and that was on your list, right? So yeah, get a second opinion on pricing, get a second opinion on care, see if it's something that is easier to handle in your area, and yeah, happy shopping. Anyway, with that out of the way, the inspiration for this video came from my friend Pia. So I guess we've been throwing inspirations back and forth. After my plant video about my philodendron collection, about my update, Pia felt the need to update her list, and let me tell you, her writing is just exquisite. I mean, it looks unreal, right? So here she is with her pretty handwriting, her notebook of all of her philodendrons that she's collected, and then she has her wish list. And man, that was really inspiring. Because I just normally throw plants on my wish list. I'm like, oh yeah, that. I'll take all of it. Choice, right? I'll take 2 of them. But here's Pia. She actually said, okay, this year I'm going to prioritize. And I'm going to focus on these 3 plants. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's the whole point of a wish list, right? Is that, you know, we want our wishes to come true. And here she is actually going to make it happen because she's focusing on 3 plants. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I could be strong enough like she is and bring it down to 3, but, you know, I brought my list down. And it was originally 10 and now it's 9. I have not added anything since that other plant that we bought. But yeah, so definitely inspired by that. And I definitely want to see if I could focus my energies on maybe knocking off another plant on my wish list, you know, for my birthday or Christmas. But in reality, guys, you know, the plant that we just acquired off of my wish list from last year that rolled over this year is probably good enough for Valentine's, my birthday, and Christmas, but we'll see. Anyway, so she's got her list of 3. I have my list of 9. My list of 9 is in no specific order because I can't go that far and figure out who's my favorite and who I want to prioritize the most out of these 9. So come with me and let's get started. I made a list just for this, and I wrote down my notes, and I made sure that everything is nice and orderly. I've got some pricing for you guys, availability information where I can. I'm ready. So, in no particular order, here are the 9 plants that remain on my 2022 wish list. The first plant up is Philodendron Devonseyanum. Devonseyanum. Okay. Now, this plant is gorgeous. I know you're going to recognize it, and I know you're going to wonder why I'm calling it Philodendron Devonseyanum, but give me a second and let me explain it, okay? Aside from exhibiting these beautiful blush-colored new leaves, and I want to say that Devonseyanum is actually a plant that is beauty and history rolled into one, right? It was originally discovered in Amazonian Peru, right? And according to botanical historian hobbyist David Arguelles, it was first described in the horticultural magazine, The Horticultural Illustration, in 1895. So yes, long time before any of us were even sparkles or twinkles in our father's eyes. It was discovered in the Amazonian Peru and named after Alphonse de la Devonse by another distinguished botanist at that time, Lucien Linden. This name, and this is critical to remember, along with most of the original historical documentation pertaining to it, disappeared either after Linden's death or during the war, or maybe during a combination of the two. So it was already published in a horticultural magazine in 1895. It was published under the name Devonseyanum, but all of the evidence aside from the magazine seems to have disappeared, at least the original stuff, right? However, another famed botanical house, that of the rival Van Houten House, inadvertently memorialized the name Devonseyanum when they made quite a remarkable donation to the National Botanical Garden of Belgium. What they donated, ladies and gentlemen, was a mature specimen of the Devonseyanum from their very own collections. So, if I remember David's post, he mentioned that it was actually donated in the 1960s, but this is a mature plant off of a very old plant, something that came from around the time it already appeared in Belgium. Now, in spite of this donation, information relating to the Devonseyanum appeared to be scarce, as another sample was collected almost a century after its initial appearance in the horticultural illustration, right? This specimen that I mentioned, appearing a century later, was collected by Dr. Tom Crote and named Philodendron Linamii. After Dr. Crote matched his specimen to that of an unidentified specimen belonging to a Florida aeroider by the name of Ralph Linum. So while the names are synonymous, the correct name isn't Philodendron Linamii. In fact, the correct and published name for this beautiful plant that we know as Linamii is actually Devonseyanum. So in one plant, you've got history and beauty and a story to tell people who comment on how pretty your plant is. Because, can't educate enough, right? Now, a second plant on my list does not have the history that Devonseyanum does. Doesn't even have Hasn't even been alive, geez, a portion of it. But it's stunning in its own right and deserves to be on my wish list, I think. Ever hear of the plant called Philodendron Whipple? No? That's because it is a fairly new hybrid. At least we hope it's the hybrid of the variegated Philodendron Imperial Red by a variegated Philodendron Whipple. I remember the Instagram post where she pronounces how her last name is properly said, and I can't for the life of me remember it or say it that way, so forgive me, please. So I first saw this plant on the live selling plant page, and I was floored. I mean, the variegation, the leaf shape, it was just quite an attractive plant. According to the sellers and the plant owners, it is a variegated hybrid of both the Philodendron Imperial Red and the Whipple. There is no documentation, to my knowledge, that has been released, but it is quite possible, looking at the characteristics of both parents, to be available in this plant. Now, availability, it seems to be quite the unicorn, because there don't seem to be a lot of them. In fact, this is the only one I found. And on top of that, I guess that justifies the astronomical price that I saw, right? It was in the millions of pesos. Yeah. I don't have millions of pesos to take a chance on a plant. So until the plant is propagated more, until it is, oh gosh, maybe tissue cultured even? Come on, please, anything. It'll probably remain on my wish list, but it definitely deserves a space there. The third plant on my 2022 wish list is the Colocasia Redemption. So this is a plant that was, that is a hybrid that's actually coming out of Brian's Botanicals. According to Brian's Botanicals, it's a cross between Colocasia Black Ripple and the hybrids of Colocasia nancyana, meaning it's a complex hybrid. It's not just, the result of two plants put together. There are more than that. They don't specify how many either. If that doesn't sound complex enough for you, this plant also had 12 years of cross-breeding colocasias in order to get the results as they are now. So, I mean, yeah, sounds pretty complex. And it sounds worth it too. I mean, for all that hard work, that picture is what it came out with. So quite amazing, really, for me. If you're familiar with the Colocasia Pharaoh's mask, then you're familiar with the juvenile leaves not appearing like the mature leaves, where they curl to the back and give it that mask appearance. That's kind of what the Colocasia Redemption is like. So the pink midrib doesn't appear until the leaves produced are more mature. And then the veins that come out of that pink midrib also come out with more mature leaves as well. So that's why I say here in my notes that kind of reminds me of Colocasia Pharaoh's mask. Yeah, only keeps getting better is what I have in my notes. It hasn't been released at this time just yet. I know the release is supposed to be scheduled for 2022 according to Brian's Botanicals. So pricing is unavailable, but if you're interested in this and you're in the US, lucky you. I would go ahead and sign up on their notification mailing list just to find out about this one. I don't think colocasias are gonna ship very well to the Philippines, so my only chance would really be if someone brought it in. But, for my US friends, lucky you. Now, another plant on my wish list is the Philodendron Orange Princess. Yeah, it exists. I know 3 people who have it, and Their pictures are pretty legit, guys. If you've seen a Philodendron Pink Princess, think of one of those, except think of the black cherry variety, the one that has the really dark glossy leaves. And think of it with orange instead of pink. And you've got your orange princess. So it has a really stunning contrast between the leaves and the variegation. It's just amazing, really. Perfect for people who enjoy colorful foliage, who enjoy stunning foliage, because it really is the black and the orange together. Amazing. Now, one of the people who owns it, she said, and this is all hearsay, okay? She said that the, all of a sudden I have the hearsay rule going off in my head. But anyway, so she says that the person who sold her the plant showed her the mother plant. And the mother plant was a Philodendron Pink Princess. Under that assumption, it would mean that the Philodendron Orange Princess is a mutation. And the 3 that I've seen, or that I know people have, 2 of them here in the Philippines, are probably propagations from that. So kind of hopeful about that, because right now pricing is kind of steep for my preference for a new plant. The cheapest that I've seen here in the Philippines is roughly 70,000 pesos, or 1,400 US dollars. So yeah, hopefully the propagation remains stable. I mean, like I said, I know 3 people who have it, and hopefully they propagate faster so that we can get some of our own as well. I've had quite the crush on colocasias in the past few weeks, and I would really like to add this one to my list. I saw it on Facebook and I was just like, why are you in the US and not the Philippines? The plant that I'm referring to is a new variety that was discovered and developed at Farmer Joe's plants, and it's called Colocasia Burning Inferno. I knew the Inferno was there somewhere. And I mean, the name is so apt. It's so well named. Before I jump into why it's well named, let me go ahead and say this, get this out of the way. It is a newer variety that, as the time of filming, had only been grown for 1 season. But according to the owners and the pictures that he had posted on Facebook, it appears to be a stable plant. And I'm quite happy about that. When I say stable, I mean it in terms of like my Alocasia frydek. So it may not always show like high variegation, but their variegation remains even in small percentages. But the offsets, the pups of my Alocasia frydek will always show these strong variegations as well. So it'll just keep passing it on. And that's pretty much what I've read about the Burning Inferno, is that the variegation can revert back to solid color. This is a quote. But with this aggressive colocasia, at any time, new pups can send out more treasures. Yeah, I have in my notes, definitely like my frydek. Mine hasn't reverted back yet, so I'm hoping that theirs won't either. I know Alocasia, Colocasia, but we're talking about variegations here. Anyhow, now back to the name of Burning Inferno, right? The Burning Inferno exhibits colors ranging from pink, orange, cream, green, black. I mean, you know, you could almost see the fire, and it's an exquisite name for an exquisite plant. Yeah, so the pricing at this time, according to the Farmer Joe website, is $2,500. Now, on my list is a plant that I enjoy because it looks good from the front and the back. In fact, I have it here in my notes. Philodendron Latindulato is a plant that is business in the front and party in the back. So what I mean by that is that from the front, it looks like one of your conservative philodendrons, right? Heart-shaped leaf, Prominent midrib, the veins emanating from the middle. No flashy colors, green, right? No flashy textures, glossy, not velvety. So from the back, you've got these delicious wavy looking petioles. So you've got these wings that are on each side of the petiole, of a maroon petiole, mind you. And the petioles have double cataphyls. I mean, if that's not showing off, I don't know what is. But I'm invested. I'm down. I actually enjoy plants that have showy petioles. One of my favorite plants right now is a Ernestii, and it has those pretty frilly petioles as well. It is harder to find here in the Philippines, and that is probably a caveat that I should speak about right now. So I have here in my notes that coloring of the petioles depend on maturity and growing conditions. So maturity, I'm referring to younger plants have more green on their petiole. Weather conditions is that cooler temperatures tend to encourage the red color out better than warmer temperatures. I live in a warmer temperature area. Boo. But not only that, in warmer climates with temperatures higher than 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius for my Philippine friends. What up? I can do Celsius too. Petioles tend to flatten out, so you won't have those pretty wavy petioles as much as you would in a colder place. However, we do have hot summers and we do have milder winters. Our winters here have temperatures that range between high 60s to low 70s. So it might just be a plant worth investing in, especially if you live in one of the more temperate areas here in the Philippines. In fact, the photograph that I'm sharing here in this video is of a plant that's actually located in the Philippines as well. So it can be done, guys. Just consider your growing conditions here when you get it and keep your expectations in check. Now, number 7. Number 7 on my list is a plant that has been around a while as in probably before the time I was born. At least that's what I remember reading. I can't find where I read that, so I'm not even gonna say that that's actually true, but I know it's been around for a while. And it's just recently come back in popularity. And that is the Philodendron Whipple way, right? This plant has also been around for a while on my wish list. At least 1 to 2 years now. I just can't get it off. If you've seen it, you know why I can't get it off. The variegations of the plant, so the new leaves start out really white or a pinkish white, and they harden into a light cream, and then they finally harden to a lime green. I mean, just really stunning, really, really pretty. But, man, just painful. Painful in terms of pricing. That's probably the main reason why I haven't taken it off my list just yet. I have in my notes here that this could possibly be the holy grail of variegated plants just because of how expensive it is. It could be one of the holy grails of variegated plants because the pricing is about $1,500 US for a 1 node cutting. Kind of steep. And that would be roughly 170,000 pesos here in the Philippines. So what I was saying about holy grails, I mean, the pricing of the Philodendron Spiritus Sancti here in the Philippines has come down. In fact, I think probably all of Asia has come down because there's been a flood of Spiritus Sancti plants in the past few weeks that have considerably brought it down. I mean, something that used to be, worth hundreds of thousands of Philippine pesos is now worth tens of thousands. The pricing of the Philodendron Whipple way, on the other hand, has remained constant for as long as it's been on my wish list. So I think it's probably going to be on my wish list for at least this year, hopefully. Maybe I'll just save up for it. I mean, girl can dream, but girl can also save up for it, right? So number 8 on my 2022 wish list is the variegated Philodendron Whipple, or silver sword. This is a plant that literally found its way on my wish list on January 1st, 2022. I saw it on Facebook, shared it on Facebook, looked it up, and sure enough, it's real. It's not photoshopped. I mean, I love the leaves of the Whipple to begin with. The silver sword, I mean, how it develops into that gorgeous sword-looking tip of the spear looking leaf in silver, bluish silver no less. I mean, yeah, and then make it variegated. I'll take 2, please, if they're in the right price range. Anyhow, the species itself, the Whipple, the silver sword, was first described in 1855, so even before the Devonstenianum, right? Is found in southeastern Brazil, and the species is instantly recognizable based on those bluish silver leaves, right? However, sadly, according to Exotic Rainforest blog, the Whipple's natural environment has been all but destroyed due to human activities. And while the plant is common in collections, it has been placed on the red list for the list of endangered species. And that's really sad. That's pretty much what makes this variegated version even more remarkable in my opinion. Unlike the Whipple way, it starts out white and it remains white throughout the life of the leaf. So as I mentioned earlier, I saw it first on Facebook, and then I was able to track it down on Instagram and on Carousel, so another selling website here in the Philippines. And I also found it, curiously, on Reddit. So the one on Reddit was a bit more mature than the ones that I've seen on Instagram lately. The variegations aren't as sectoral as the ones that have come out recently, but I'm telling you, 2 years ago. So this plant has been around, at least one of them has been around for 2 years. So this whole 2-year existence on social media gives me the impression that the variegations are probably stable. And I'm excited about that because it really, really is a stunning plant. And I really, really want it to be in my collection. I have in my notes, until mass distribution happens, we are not going to guesstimate pricing. Okay guys, so that's what she said. Okay, finally, last plant on my list is Anthurium and Angiano, Shibori. And this is really, really important for me to note, okay? That it's a bit of an outlier compared to the other plants on my list, but I think it's a worthy addition to be on this list. And let me tell you why. The first Anthurium I ever bought for its flower was just last year, and it was the Anthurium Scherzerianum, right? You might know it better by the name Anthurium pigtail, and it's referred to pigtail because of its curly pigtail-like spadix. Yeah, it's waspy day today. This is only the second Anthurium I've ever chosen because of its flower, but why should variegated foliage have all the fun, right? The Shibori is a variety of Angianum with a variegated flower. Technically, the variegated flower part is a spathe, and the spathe itself has been called a glorified leaf by several collectors. So yeah, variegated leaf versus variegated flower. Let's not make it complicated. It looks like a flower. I'm going to refer to it as a flower, and you know, the people in the know will say it's a spathe, fine, but it's still a pretty flower to me. So The flowers, the spathes are all variable. You've got variegations of spots, lines, even some sectoral portions. It's just a beautiful, beautiful spathe. The plant itself can grow between 3 to 4 feet tall with textured leaves. So it is definitely a winner. I mean, it's definitely something that I think belongs in any garden. And let me tell you, it's already available for mass distribution. I've seen multiple websites carry it. This plant is the cheapest on my list, and on average it goes for about $25. That probably explains why it's always sold out. But yeah, I would definitely purchase it if I come across it here in the Philippines. And that's it. Those are the 9 plants remaining on my wish list for 2022. I hope you enjoyed that. If you think that I missed anything, please leave me a comment. Tell me all about what I'm missing, and maybe I'll consider putting it on my list. Yeah, leave it in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't. I have that video unboxing coming up of my wishlist plant that I did get. And I hope my waspy friend won't be around to help me with that unboxing. Can't damper my enthusiasm though. Tell you, I'm excited. You'll probably see a lot of pictures of it on Instagram under Tasteful Nodes. And I'll probably even do a write-up on Tasteful Nodes' website as well. Okay? That's it, guys. Until next time, keep your nodes classy and tasteful. Bye.